Hi, thanks for joining. I have a runner's workout that you can do from home. This is a great workout to supplement your current running routine if you need to take a day off or if you're looking to just build up some strength from home before you start running. This could be a really good workout for you. It involves a lot of stretching and mobility movements as well as some core strength. So let's get started. Each set has 2 exercises, and for this workout, you'll want to complete each round 2 times. I'll demonstrate each exercise with modifications. We'll start with a hamstring floss, 30 seconds on each side. You'll place the same hand as the extended leg out onto the ground, and with your opposite hand, you'll reach for your foot. So this is kind of the final form of this movement if you have the mobility to allow it. But I'm going to show you some modifications if you can't quite keep your knees straight while you reach for your foot. So to modify this to make it more accessible, we'll start with a bent knee and you'll just reach for the ground with your fingertips, and with your opposite hand you'll reach for the outside of your shin or ankle, and from there we'll floss back and forth, keeping a bend in your knee. It shouldn't be extremely uncomfortable. You should just feel a stretch. Over time, if that starts to feel more doable, you can keep a bent knee and place your hand flat on the ground and then reach down for your foot and continue the floss. And over time, as you continue this, you'll be able to straighten your knee more and more. The next movement is a lateral half kneeling hinge, again for 30 seconds on each side. I'm just sticking one foot out to the side and then I'm sending my hips back and then coming back up forward. I'm looking for a stretch on the inside of my thigh, right there, like next to my groin, and we're just trying to get that area opened up. I'll show you this movement from the side so you can see what my hips are doing. They're just sitting back, and I'm trying to keep my spine pretty neutral rather than going backwards and rounding over a lot. Sometimes it helps to keep your chin up if you find that you're sending your hips back and your upper body is collapsing over. Just keep your chin up as you sit back. And complete both of these for 2 rounds. The first movement of this next set is a single leg glute bridge. You'll hold on to one knee and then send your hips up 15 times. Usually it doesn't feel like your hips are going very far when you're doing this, but just make sure you're pressing up as high as you can, trying to get all the way up to your shoulder blades off the ground. And as long as you're doing 15 on each side and just pressing as best as you can, you're strengthening your single leg stability, which is going to help a lot with the stability of your running and just the quality overall of your run. The next movement of these two is a half kneeling quad stretch. You might want to get something soft to put under your knee if you have a hard floor. And from there, you're going to get into a half kneeling position and gently squeeze your glute. We're not sitting forward for this part of the movement. We're just upright, squeezing the glute, trying to find a stretch along the front of your thigh. And if you feel that, we're going to take the same hand as the arm that's on the ground and reach up and sideways. So we're just trying to stretch the whole side of your body and the front of your quad, keeping that gentle squeeze in your glute and not sitting forward very far. You don't need to try this next movement out if you're not there yet, but in case you just want to get a little bit further into your quad stretch, the same thing, we're going to squeeze our glute just a little bit, but we're going to pull our back foot up and really gently pull that. This stretch can be really intense and could cause injury if you're not ready for it yet. So this is only if you're ready for this level of a stretch. And you'll repeat both of these movements 2 times. The next one of two movements is going to be a clamshell. So I'm going to push my knees back so they're in a straight line with my hips and my shoulders, and I'm going to get set up pretty comfortably on one elbow. And as I do this, I want to keep my ankles together as best as I can. From here, I'm going to lift my hips up off the ground and open my knees. And then everything closes and hips go back down. I'll repeat this and do both of those movements together at the same time. So hips are coming up and I'm opening my knees together, and it's 12 of these on each side. I'll show you this movement from the side so you can see the angle I'm making with my knees to my shoulders. So everything is mostly in a line. My knees aren't super far in front of my body. And then from there, you're just opening up, trying to keep your ankles together. You can lift your ankle up if you want to. It's just going to be a lot harder. And this is kind of more for beginners. So just try as best you can, keep your ankles together. Two of two, we have a stretch. So we're going to be in the downward dog position, and for 30 seconds, you'll march, extending one heel to the ground, lifting up the other, and we're just trying to stretch the calves and hamstrings if you can get to it. With your upper body, press your chest to your thighs and really try to get your shoulders doing some work. You'll repeat both of these 2 times. This next movement, we're going to start crouched down. And you're going to sit your hips back on your heels and keep your knees on the ground at first. And we're just going to press our hands into the ground. It should feel like your quads and your lower abs are already doing work before we start the movement. Once you have that, lift your knees just slightly off the ground, and then we're going to press our hips up into the air. We're going to come back down to a half crouch to save our knees. This is beginners, so we're not going to go all the way down, hip butt to heel, but halfway down, and you should feel a pretty good work going on in your quads. You'll repeat this 12 times, just going as far as your knees will let you. There's really no need to press this all the way down, your knees cracking and popping. 12 times, halfway down. And 2 of 2 here, we're going to put our shoulders to work with our core. Starting in a plank on your hands, you'll pull your shoulder blades together and then push them back apart. The whole time you're doing this, you're trying to keep your hips in a straight line between your feet and your shoulders, so hips aren't super high in the air. The more even you keep your hips, the more you'll feel it in your core and your shoulders. And I'll show you this view from the top so you can see what my shoulder blades are doing. So my shoulder blades are pulling together in the back, and then they're spreading apart, pushing back forward. And you'll repeat this 10 times. So do both of those and then repeat them for a second round, and that's the end of the workout. Thanks very much for watching.